cooking, and it's going to be a bit more difficult for you guys to see. So don't rely on this at all. Everyone should be crowding around here, okay? And I'm serious because you should be able to see what I'm doing fully. All right? Now, we are going to be using two things. Usually, what?
Are we doing
what?
Sorry? Are we doing the omelet and the pommes at the same time kind of thing? Or are we going to do all the pommes and the
Well, I'll wait until everyone's ready. Okay, so when you're doing this, you're going to be doing the Pomme Rosti, and you will only have one pan, okay? Usually you're going to use this pan for the Pomme Rosti. Unfortunately, I don't have it for you because you're not going to be using this one. You're going to be using this one because this is perfect for eggs, okay? These are brand new. These are non-stick. I do not let anyone use this unless they're just doing something with eggs, okay? Other than that, you do not use this. Everything else, you use this. Do you remember how to season a pan? Yeah? Heat it up. Okay, you need to know because this is the one thing that you need to do or else everything will stick. Heat up the pan until you feel like it's like a heater right here. Then add the oil, let it heat up, and then afterwards you cook it. Okay? If you don't, whatever you do, don't complain to me that it's sticking because of course it's sticking. That there's only one reason for it. You just did this process wrong. Okay? There's no other reason. Make sense? Okay? So if you say that it's sticking, there's no reason for it. This is a non-stick pan. Yes, it will be non-stick. The only thing is that I should not be seeing I need to take very good care of it. There's not even a scratch. Once there's a scratch, I have to throw it away, so I don't want you to do that. You're only allowed plastic things to go with it, and I would prefer you only to use rubber spatulas. All right? These are really good. Okay? Whenever you use this, after you're done, you're going to go and wipe it off with a towel only. You're not needing to rinse it unless there's something that sticks on, which shouldn't because it's non-stick. And then you're going to put a towel right over it. Okay? What happens is the next pan that lies over here will not scratch because of the bottom. All right? Okay. And then, so when you're making this, I'm going to first start with my Pomme Rosti, and I'm going to also start with and you can also turn your oven on until 300-400 or so. And what that happens is that you're going to go and start serving your food on a hot plate. You're also going to serve your food, making sure that they're also hot. All right? Okay. So whenever you're making that, are you guys okay back there? Yes?
Yeah, but I need the recipe.
I'm dying. Huh?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Hard? Not mine. She has such He has such good taste. Oh, Pomme. She gets so fascinated.
Okay, I don't want to waste any more time because you only have 15 minutes with me. So, okay. So the more you guys get in terms of sorry about that today. Because today is an off day. All right. So when you're gonna make your food, you're gonna start off with making your Pomme Rosti, or you can do whatever you're doing in your omelet. Do not do what I do, meaning like I want you to create your own omelet. I want you to think about what you're going to be putting in. I want you to think about what kind of food you're going to be creating. So it should not be the same as mine. Okay? And some of you guys should be doing that. If you want mushrooms, do it. But the only thing that my hint for you is whenever you're creating your omelet is making sure that it is cut really, really, really small. Okay? There's 3 categories of this food that you're going to put in. These are the food that you can put into the egg right away. the herbs or anything else like spices. Okay? Herbs and spices put into the egg omelet before you cook it. All right, that's the category number 1. So write that down. I don't know why you guys are staring at me and not writing. Okay, because whatever I say are notes, verbal notes. So I expect that you guys write things down. Does that say? So I'm going to say that one more time. Herbs and spices go in the beginning. Vegetables and everything else, like I'm going to slice my jalapeno and I'm going to go and saute. You saute and then put it into the mixture. Okay? If you're going to have cheese, cheese goes at the very end. All right? So because of that reason, I'm going to go and prepare certain things. So I'm going to go and crack my eggs. By the way, the easiest way to crack is using your wrist and on the surface. Do not crack it on the edge. People think that if you crack it on the edge, you'll get a clean break. You don't. Okay? So both of them in there. And I'm not going to add salt until I'm ready to go. Salt breaks down the protein. Sometimes that's a good thing. I don't want to break it down. Okay? Because what I mean by break down the protein is that it does not stick together anymore. Then I'm going to go and starch my pan. So everything's on one pan. And I'm just going to go and cut my jalapeno because this is what I found. So I'm going to make it very simple. Okay. By the way, it's not the seeds that are actually the most spicy. It's the pit that holds the seeds. Okay. So I'm gonna knock off the seeds first. Make sure it's clean, and then I'm just gonna go in. Cut this really, really small. So notice that when I'm cutting, and if it's a mushroom, you're going to cut it this small also. Because the bigger it is, the harder it is to roll. Then I'm going to put it together in a slice. Okay? You're going to go and take that, and you're going to go and add a little bit of oil. Because I've heated up the pan, I'm heating up the oil so that when I add it in, it should sizzle. If it doesn't, I stop. Did you?
Yep. He's got ears.
There you go. Then I got herbs, and I don't have a lot, so if you want, you can bring your own, but I have some chopped parsley and cilantro, so I'm just putting it together. And when I'm cutting, I'm actually still looking at the side. That's why it's so important that you don't move away. And sometimes some people are like cutting over here. I know your area is kind of hard, but you should try to make it so that it's all accessible next to you. Okay? So I'm going to chop this up. Okay? And I'm going to go and chop up some green onions because I have it. And paper thin. Because you don't want large chunks of onions. You want the flavor, but you don't want it to be overwhelming. So it's all about how you cut your food. Okay? The nice cuts. So I'm going to put my herbs in here. And if I want any spices, I could do that too. Okay? Can I get one more bowl, please? So now that I sauteed everything, I just move it around. And once it's cooked, I know that it's not because it's brown. Thank you. It's because it's nicely sauteed and the color is a little brighter. Let it cool down a little bit, and then I'm going to put it in here. Okay? So if it's mushrooms, you do the same thing. Zucchini, cut it this small, and then after it's cut it, and then put it in there. Okay? Bell peppers, same thing. All right? So you come up with your own. If you don't tell me, then that means I'm not going to get it. I usually do my grocery rounds already, and you're going to go and get it yourself and bring it in. I think you guys did a good job with that. Let's talk about your potato. So before I get started, I have my potato ready to go. Okay, this is a huge potato, so I'm going to cut this one in half. Okay, and then you're going to take a grater. Once you start this process, you can't stop until it's fully cooked and ready to go. Okay, so you need to go and once you're ready for this part, you got to get going. So. And then I'm going to go and start grating. Using the big grater, okay, big side, you're going to go and force it and just go fast. just be careful of your fingers. I've braided my skin before, and I've seen many people do that. Once you get to the point there, notice that I stop by putting my palm over it, and then just says it's okay. So you can keep going after that. Now one potato, it doesn't have to be as big as mine. Okay, you're going to create your 2 patties. I have more than enough, so I'm just going to stop there. You're going to take this out. So, wow. Yeah. And what you're going to do is that you're going to squeeze the potato. Okay? And you're going to get all the water out.
Oh my gosh.
So, potato has a lot of starch.
Oh gosh. We were like, let's have the juice. Okay.
Yummy. Okay. Clean yourselves because I always find Pomme Rosti all over everything. Counters, cutting boards, yourself. I've seen people having it in their hair. I've seen it all over the bottles. Okay, so once you get to this stage, a lot of people leave this part alone. This is when it oxidizes, and even more because it's not shredded. So you need to go and work fast. At this point, once you have it here, turn your heat on, and I never go past medium. Because at medium, it slowly heats up my pan. Okay? This does get pretty hot though. So once you got that, you're going to add some salt and pepper right into it. Okay? And if it's the seasoning is kind of off, it's just because of experience. You guys have not seasoned enough things yet. So for me, without tasting, I know that it's bang on because I've been cooking for so much. All right? So I put a little bit of oil, and I'm not making it greasy, but what happens is that the oil helps it to coat this. And what happens is when it's coating, it actually prevents it from browning. But it doesn't like 100% stop it, it just prevents it a little bit. Notice I'm not giving you any measurements anymore, because you should start staying away from my measurements. Okay? No. It's so simple. So now that you got this going and it's coated, you can tell it's slightly shiny, but it's not greasy. You're going to heat up your pan, and usually I do it in this pan, okay? But just because of time's sake and I'm cleaning, you're going to do it in this pan. All right? So it's all done at one time. So then, you're just going to go and put in some oil. Notice the amount, okay? You want a good amount of oil. The oil runs like water very fast, which means that it's nice and hot. I'm going to put it in, and if it doesn't sizzle like this, that means that it's not hot enough. Okay? Usually I do 3 in the big one. It's a lot of oil, but you'll need more. Okay, so then once it's done, I'm going to start to shape it. The top part does not feel hot at all, so it's okay to touch it. Okay? And you're going to make little patties that are nice and round. Okay? Flatten it a little bit so that it stays together. If you don't flatten it, it will not hold together. Okay? So I need a little bit more oil here. It's kind of bad to have the oil at midway unless the pan is hot. So yeah, it sizzle.
As a child.
So once this happens, 9, 10 more are the same. They make the exact same comments. Just saying. Okay. So you're gonna go and put a little bit more. While that happens, you're gonna go in now because you're gonna be ready for the next stage. So like I said, you can do it on this pan if you want. I'm gonna whip up my eggs. So now that it's golden brown, and I know that it's turning transparent 3/4 of the way, I'm gonna take it, flip it, and a nice golden brown. So what I mean by that is not splotchy, is that it looks like a nice even brown color. So it's all about adding just a little bit more oil to it each time you fry it up. But you're not making to a point it's greasy, okay? It should be greasy. So I have 10 minutes left before you guys don't have. So same thing, golden brown, okay? Last one, this is my last one that I added, so most likely this one won't be as pretty looking yet. Okay, you're gonna take a paper towel and can I get a plate?
Plate.
Plate. Sure. Want this plate? Sounds good. I'm going to turn this down to on for 150, and this will end up being my warming oven. It's hot enough that it's going to, when I put in my pan, it's my plate, it will not actually break, because if you heat up certain plates too hot, it will shatter. Okay? So I have it golden brown, it's crispy, which is good, and it's fully cooked, I can tell, because it's no longer this raw, dry look. It's a nice transparent look to it. So I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to take it off the heat, because you'll see that it still has residual heat. Okay. So I'm going to plate 1, 2. I'll leave this one alone. Okay. And while that happens, now, because I'm ready to go, I'm going to go and season. So now I'm going to put in a little bit of salt to my eggs. On top of this, to make it so that it's nice and relaxed and it'll be a little fluffy, I'm going to add some milk. Notice that I'm adding a tablespoon or 2, but I wouldn't add more than that, because if you add too much milk, it loosens up the proteins too much, and then it'll end up breaking apart, so your omelet will not hold together. Okay? So same with your salt. If you add it too early, your protein will not hold together. If you add a little bit of too much milk, your protein will not hold together. So I'm going to go and add a little bit of oil now. Notice the difference. This is canola oil, that is olive oil. I'm using canola oil the whole time. I didn't even turn on my pan, and just take a look at this. It still has a lot of sizzle. Okay, but notice the technique I'm going to be using at this point in time. Okay, because this part's key. I'm going to go and start to go and swirl it a little.
Whoa.
And what I'm doing is I'm creating a very fluffy egg omelet. Each time I'm going to scrape it so that it doesn't hit the edge. Okay? Nope. It's not even on. That's how high the residual heat is. So now that it seems like the residual heat is kind of turning off, turn it on, and I'm going to turn it all the way down low. Okay? Now, at this point in time, I'm going to start to make folds. So basically what happened is I'm going to push it from the side, and then after I fill in the edge. Push it from the side, fill in the edge. Okay. Fill in the edge. Push it from the side, fill in the edge. And it's a slow, but your technique will be good. Okay? It's like a salt you guys creating? At this point, when it has most of it is no longer cooking, okay, and it's cooking really low, this is when I add cheese, okay? Because if you overcook the cheese, your cheese will melt and then it'll split and then it has oil and everything else, so that's not good. So now that I have that, there's a couple things you could do. If you want, you can turn your oven to broil. At the word broil, the heat turns on the top and it can cook a little bit of the top for you. Or else you could just put a lid on here for a little bit. That's my way of doing it. And it doesn't matter where the lid is, it's just a lid. And then when you're done, all right, the thing about French omelets is that it's a little bit more runny than usual, okay? It is a French omelet, it's rolled. So afterwards, once it's done, it's not moving around anymore. I start to go and lift, and I start to roll.
No round at all.
So the reason why this one has a little roll to it, yeah, or I actually didn't make that layer, bottom layer good. So I put this in here for a little bit. I'm going to put it under my broiler for a little bit.
Wait, does that mean there's too much milk? Or you just need to cook it more? Does that mean there's too much milk?
No, it's not too much milk. It's just that when I was lifting the layers and pushing to the side, it kind of ripped because that bottom part was not hot enough. Or sorry, there's not enough to make it cold. So when you're spreading and making those little creases, you want to make sure that the bottom layer still has enough so that it doesn't tear. Okay, turn this off. So I'm heating up my plate, so I should feel when you put it up your plate, it's going to be warm. Okay, and my omelet is ready to go. Okay, so now I make a stitch. Okay.
Whoa, that's amazing. That was magic.
Right, so this comes out, warm plate, and I put this on. And it's folded and rolled. All right. So that's basically it. BRL means broil, which is the heat comes from the top. Okay. So it's not weeping. There's 0 brown on there, and then the inside is still cooked nicely. And this is basically it. Questions? Can you bring it up to me nicely?